So one of the hardest things that I've tried to whittle away at overcoming is being jealous or envious of others that appear by the eye to have more. Usually financially, they have a bigger house, they have a nicer car, the house is in a better place, they have a bigger business, a better business. There's other facets of our life, but that seems to be they live on a certain hill that I want to live on. And I remember reading one book about someone that said that they had been financially successful and they had a Porsche or Lamborghini, a fancy car, and they parked it and people scratched it. And so he's wondering, well, instead of his premise and the point of bringing it about in this book was, why are you scratching my car out of hate or anger? Why don't you ask me, what did I do to get to this level in life? Why don't you try to emulate these things so you can have your own car? There's not a monopoly on the fancy cars in the world. You can have one too. And that was his premise, although he didn't quite say it that way. And so in the course of my financial wealth building pursuits, as best I can, and I'm still pursuing, is I've tried, instead of being envious or jealous, which is the immediate emotional state that we usually feel, try to suppress that and instead approach the person with the nice fancy car, the business, and ask them, write them a letter. What financial advice do you have? How can I become similar to what you have and are? And you have to use your words choice carefully because you don't want to intimidate them or make them insecure that I want to be your next competitor. I want to be your next person next door. But instead, here's a business that I've begun. What things have you learned from yours that I could apply to mine that's not directly competitive to theirs? Or what ways may I acquire a nice car? It's not exactly like yours, because we all want to be different, right? But something similar. I've always admired XYZ model. What advice do you have? Many people, you'd be surprised, really open up when you don't scratch the car. This is America, and it's equal opportunity, and they're mostly flattered if you come sincere. But I think this is absolutely one of the hardest things, is instead of being envious, instead of being jealous, what can I do? What steps can I take to become more what I want to be and the attribute that others have? It's a hard road, but the opposite is it kills you financially. You always cast blame of others people's successes. And of course, it could be, doesn't have to be financial or dollar numbers. It can be they play the violin better, or they have a better body, or something like that. But more beautiful. Just it kills and it detriments our progress. And so that's very important to suppress that immediate emotional feeling and to be sincere and ask them if you can, but ask yourself, what can I do to do that? This paradigm shift is critical as it gives one hope. Instead of despair, it shifts the paradigm, it shifts the psychology into increasing wealth. And again, wealth isn't always about numbers, it's about time, relationships, physique, having more time. So that's critical.